new industrial policy in 1991 have also brought in some fundamental changes into the industrial policy that we have. Basically, in industrial policy of India is an offspring of India Development Nation Act of 1951. In the year 1951, being part of a closed economy, we had an industrial licensing system which was in place, which basically very dangerously impacted our economy till about 1985, or I would say till about 1990 as well. However, this had its all negative impacts because of unnecessarily government interferences. Besides this, the bureaucratic red tapeism, unnecessary long time taking in decisions makings, unnecessarily problem created while taking investment decisions. In the year 1956, with the revised industrial policy, which was called as the industrial policy of 1956, there were 18 industries yet considered to be important and were regulated by the state. However, in the year 1991, out of those 18 industries, only 6 have been given a control of the state. The rest of the 12 have been freedom. Besides this, entrepreneurs have been given a freedom to exercise their choice of type of products that they want to produce, the locations at which they want to produce. Rather, certain scopes are offered by respective state governments to encourage and invite entrepreneurs to start their operations in their respective locations. However, by the end of 95 or 96, we found another change. Then only 3 strategic industries are now under state control. One is railway, second is nuclear power, and third is defense. However, the rest of the industries are completely freed for private exposition or private equity investments. So this way, industrial licensing has substantially abolished from the industrial policy of the government of India. Secondly, the public sector's role has also been diluted. Now, when I'm saying this, that only 3 industries which are predominantly controlled by state, even in these industries also, the private exposure is given by offering entrepreneurs or business houses to contribute some sort of production which can be best used by these 3 different industries. So this way, even public sector role has also been diluted drastically in the new industrial policy of the year 1991. When I was talking about the Monopolistic Restrictive Trade Practices Act, there was a legitimation which said that any company which has its worth of 100 crores or more can only be directed by the government to produce specific products. Now these MRTP products were such as cigarettes, alcohol, consumer durables, or some other category of products. However, in the year 1991, this MRTP limit of 100 crores have also been abolished and discontinued. And irrespective of this investment limit of 100 crores, it is the expertise or the interest of the entrepreneur is given a precedence. So that's how the even MRTP limit is also abolished and discontinued. Lastly, free entry to foreign investment and technology. In high investment and high technology area, which we should agree to that we may not have our expertise in, the government has given a free entry with an investment up to 51% of the foreign entity with a venture with the local entity. So this way, in new industrial policy, 4 fundamental changes have also been brought in. One is the abolition of industrial licensing from 18 to more or less 3. Public sector role is also diluted from 6 to 3 or rather lesser than that. MRTP limit, which was there at about 100 crores, that has also been substantially stopped. And lastly is free entry by allowing the foreign entities to come and invest in India with a maximum of 51% in the areas of high technology or high investment. Despite having so many benefits in industrial policy of 1991, we still have located some problems in this particular policy. We could have still been able to found some of the gaps between the targets and its achievements. Till about 1990, we have always set some target for achieving the industrial growth. However, we always fell short on that by, if not more, at least 20%. However, post this industrial policy of 1991, we could have been able to register an industrial growth rate of approximately 8%, which was 6.2% below before 1980s. Second is, there is another problem which has not been addressed in this industrial policy of 1991. That is underutilization of capacities. Now, in any of the public sector units, if you say, as stated and calculated, that we could not have been able to utilize the capacity to the maximum of 50 to 60%. Now, this can be accounted for either the shortage of raw material or the technology, the wastage, strikes, or even the incontinuous power supplies. However, yes, these are some of the challenges which has forced us to underutilize the total capacity. Besides this, in industrial policy, we could not have also been able to address an area which is called as the regional imbalance of industrialization. What do we mean by that? There are only few states such as Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu or Karnataka to an extent who could have been able to make best use of these industrial policy. And that's how the data suggests so. 39% or 39.5% of the total factories are located in these 3 or 4 states. 45% of the investment that has happened during or after this industrial policy has come in place, has happened only in these 3 states. And even the output, the industrial output to the tune of 46% is also coming out of only these 3 states. So which suggests that industrial policy has not been able to arrest this imbalance situation in the economy. Industrial sickness has been again a big problem which industrial policy could not have been able to keep a control of. However, now it is discussed and advocated that sick units should be handed over to either the entrepreneurs or can be converted into small scale units so that operations can be concentrated and their performance can be improved by. And lastly, the emerging challenges. From the year 1990 onwards, since India being a founder member of WTO allowed any type of import from the foreign world into our country, and that has created a fierce competition for the domestic producers. So this is an emerging challenge wherein good quality products, obviously with the cost effectivity, has taken place in the market, and it is difficult for the domestic producers with obsolete technologies, low production capacities, intermittent production problems, manpower problems, power problems to tackle these production houses who have got best of the technology to their credits. So these are some of the problems which industrial policies have kept in front of us.